Chapter 4 is all about becoming a person people want to follow, becoming that person that is attractive for people, becoming that person that people want to serve alongside of you, whether it's in the organization, in the church, in a business, at your home. So Chapter 4 really just talks about the characteristics that a leader must have. So John asked the question, what are the qualities of an effective leader? He mentioned that leaders arise during difficult times to meet the crisis. He mentioned also too that the problem with lack of leadership, that we might be spending more time studying our problems and not enough time solving them. So he gave an illustration of an interview of a former White House representative. The interviewee asked John O'Neill opinions who he thought was the most intelligent president, and he responded it was Jimmy Carter. So in the interview, he went on and talked about how intelligent the president was, and at the end of the interview, he also mentioned he was not a good leader because of all the issues that America was facing. So how people are being pushed so many different ways in so many different directions, making it impossible for people to be united and stand behind their leader. So let's bring it back to reality. Let's bring it back to ground level. How can we be effective leaders in our church organization or in our ministries, in our teams? Because a lack of leadership can also have a tremendous bearing on all types of relationships. So John have 5 different characteristics that is the most effective, and he thinks that a leader must have. So 1, a sense of calling. A true leader feels an inner urging to take the positions, to feel a sense of responsibility. People who are called to discover something bigger than themselves, a mission, a challenge, a goal, a movement, something that draws them to the arena that they are in. There will become times when leaders' particular gifts and talents are necessary to meet that crisis. So how are you rising up to the occasion in your team and in your group? Number 2, must be able to communicate. Great leaders have the ability to visually communicate their message to people. A good communicator is able to convey a strong belief in their people because there's a trust factor that is tied with communication. How does a leader communicate? First, you must see it yourself clearly. You must see your vision. You need to understand what you're trying to communicate before you communicate to anybody else. Second, you must say it clearly and creatively so people can understand. People can take the vision and run with your vision. They understood what you were trying to communicate. And third, you must be consistent about your vision and what you're trying to communicate. Be consistent with what you're communicating, so that is effective, from the journey from start to end. Number 3, a leader must have the creativity to handle problems. And everyone faces problems, and the ability to creatively find a solution will determine the success or the failure of each problem or difficulty. So John gave an example of this family. This farmer, he had land that floods every spring. So he's just so adamant about just staying there. He doesn't want to move. He doesn't want to get a new place. So every single year when it floods, the water will flood his coop. So all his chicken would drown. A sad story, I know. But he's just so stubborn. He just doesn't want to move. So one day he told his wife, he was like, hey, I don't know what to do. I just don't want to move. I don't want to buy another place. I don't want to buy more chicken. I'm just stuck in an area. So the funny thing that his wife calmly responded, why don't you buy ducks? So little as he knows, his wife was coming up with a creative solution because duck can swim above water where chicken can be drowned. And close to last, a leader is a generous contributor. The measure of a leader cannot be the number of people who serves him, but the number of people he serves. So is that leader have a contribute part that not also give the vision, but be alongside of the vision to accomplish it. So John talks about a great leader or a great giver. So that was very powerful to me, and it stick to my heart. Where not only leaders are giving directions and leading a team, but also giving back to the team. And lastly, leaders need to act consistent. A leader must be consistent in 3 areas. John mentioned that a leader needs to be consistent with people because when you're consistent with people, you build that security, build that trust and that bond. A leader must be consistent in their principles, providing direction. Always have a direction, always have a plan A, plan B, plan C, so that you are leading this team so that it doesn't get out of control. and a leader must have projects to build morale, to always keep the team up, so that you don't want to bring the team energy down. So that's chapter 4.